Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and I've got a hack for you today. As fall and winter are approaching, I wanted to grab one of my favorite free patterns by Ellie and Mac, the curved hem tank, and add some sleeves to it. So we're going to talk about how I'm going to do that, and we're going to go ahead and sew one up, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So let's get started. All right, let's get started. This is my curved hem tank pattern. I've had this pattern forever. I love it. I've made so many of them, and it's a great fit, and it's a free pattern, so I'm super excited about that. Anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm laying out my pattern piece, and all we gotta do is we wanna make sure that the sleeve that I'm adding to it is going to actually fit. So I picked a sleeve that I wanted from another pattern, and I grabbed that bodice. And here's my bodice piece. This is the Diana pattern that's what I'm using for my sleeve. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that the arm size right here where the sleeve is going to fit, you want to make sure that they match up, that they're the same. And once I put it on top, I want to match up the shoulder seam here. Once I put it on top, I can see that, you can see right here from the side that the Diana pattern comes up a little bit more than the curved hem tank. So what I'm going to do, you can either copy your pattern piece and do a new pattern piece, but what I'm just going to stick this pattern piece right underneath it, match up the shoulder seam here, make sure that all matches up, make sure it's matching together. As you can see right here, it's coming up, and it's giving me this little section here that it's a higher section than the curved hem tank by probably about a ½ inch. So you can go ahead, and if you want to make yourself a new pattern piece and add that curve here to the pattern piece itself, you can do that, but I'm just laying it under, and I'm just going to go around it when I cut it. So let me go ahead and cut the front, and I'm going to go up here and cut around it. And then for the back, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lay out my pattern piece for the Diana pattern underneath it and my pattern piece for my curved hem tank on top, so I can make sure that the arm size is going to be the same width. So it's going to have the same opening than the sleeve that I'm going to add on. Then I'm going to cut the sleeve I'm going to add on, and I'm going to put the pattern together just like I usually would. And then I'm going to inset the sleeve that I want to add on from the Diana pattern. That's how simple it is. So let's do it. I'm going to show you what it looks like at the end. We're going to quickly sew this up, and you're going to see how easy this is to do. Got the same ½ inch happening here. So we're just going to go ahead and cut around that. All right, my friends, I sort of realized something after the fact. And what my realization was that when I was adding the width here at the arm side, I didn't account for the shoulder width. Okay, I just kind of went over on this side and added all the width here, but not at the shoulder. So the sleeve fits, but when you have a tank, your shoulder is smaller because the tank usually comes in a little bit at your shoulder. But when you're wearing a shirt, your shoulder seam here wants to come all the way at the cap of your shoulder. I did not take that into consideration. So when you're making this, make sure that you're matching up on this corner, not on this corner. So match it up on this corner. And as you can see here, if I match it up, I still have the ½ inch. I still have the ½ inch here that I have to add, but I also end up adding this spot right here, which is the extra cap of the sleeve. So I'm gonna show you my finished results, and I'm gonna show you what I mean by that, but I'm gonna insert this in so that when you're cutting yours, you remember to add a little bit of shoulder here that I did not add. So my shirt still works and looks great, but my shoulder seam is like in between my shoulder instead of coming at the end of my shoulder. I don't want you to make that mistake, so that's how you fix it. I've got my Diana sleeve. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it out. All right, we're gonna get started. We're just gonna sew up the tank just like I would sew up the tank any other time. Sewing up the back seam first. Right sides together. You'll know I like to piece everything together, so I might just go ahead and do that. I'm gonna open this up and sew the shoulders and the side seams. The front and back right sides together. Now for this pattern, actually before you sew the side seams, you can go ahead and hem, because if you hem before the side seams, it's much easier because of this curved hem. So it makes it much easier, but you know what? I'm just gonna go for it because I may not even hem. All right, while I'm at it, I'm gonna grab my neckband and fold it right sides together and sew that short raw edge to prep my neckband. And I'm also going to prep my sleeves because they're going to be inset sleeves. So you can go ahead and if you want to hem them first and then sew them right sides together at the short raw edge, you can do that as well. Or you can go ahead and sew them together and then hem them after, which is what I'm going to do with the bodice and the sleeve. Because once I follow all these steps, really, once I sew this up, prep them, I'm gonna come back and put it all in and we'll be done. It'll just be a matter of hemming. So easy. Let's sew it. All right, so now that we've sewn everything up, I'm going to use my iron and do a memory fold here so that way I can hem after. So all the way around the hem. All right, so now my shirt has that memory hem. I'm going to also do the same for my sleeve. So that way after I attach it, it's easier to hem. And you could have done this before you sewed it together, but I didn't. I didn't have my iron plugged in, so that's why. I plugged it in while I was sewing and then I figured I'd go ahead and do it now. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my neckband and fold it wrong sides together to create the memory crease as well on here. So that way it's easier to attach. Again, this is easier done before you sew it on the round, but I didn't have my iron plugged in, so I waited till after. All right, now that everything is ready and prepped, I'm going to grab my bodice. I'm going to lay it out on my mat. It's inside out right now. So I'm going to grab one of my sleeves, and the one that's got the back, I'm going to turn my sleeve right side out. And I have marked where the back and the front are. So I'm going to fit it right. I'm going to do fit it inset sleeve. I'm going to fit it right into my arm side, and I'm going to match up the bottom seam with my armpit seam. And then I'm going to attach it right sides together. I have the notch where the top is, and that goes to the top seam. And it should fit in perfectly. So this is the moment of truth. And it does, look at that. It lines up perfectly. I'm gonna do the same for the other one. Arm side, fit my sleeve into my arm side, match it right sides together. Now all I've got to do is my neckband, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab it and I'm actually going to quarter it. Here's my back seam. I'm going to match up the back and the front, and this is my front seam. I'm going to match up those two, and those are going to be my quarters. I am just attaching the neckband as a regular neckband. I'm not attaching it as binding. I'm going to grab the back seam and go to the front and mark it. You can attach it. The pattern calls for attaching it like a binding, and you can do that, but I'm just attaching it like a regular neckband. Let me know in the comments below how you best like to attach the neckband for this pattern. I do it differently at different times, but I just find that I like the way I like to do it just like this. It's simple. All right, so then I'm going to match up all those quarter points and head over to my sewing machine, sew it up and hem up my sleeves and the bottom of my shirt, and we'll be done. And then I'm going to show you just what it looks like all finished with sleeves. All right, now I am hemming using my cover stitch. I apologize, my camera turned off, so I was not able to get all the footage of me sewing up the other things of my shirt. So if you want to see full footage on that, you can go and check out the sewing tutorial for this tank, and it'll show you just exactly how to sew it up. Let's finish this up. All right, we are finished. I love this. I really do love the shape of this pattern with this skirt here and how nicely it shapes up in the back. I love the flowiness of it from away from the body. I just love it. And now that I know how to add sleeves, I think that steps it up a little bit more. Now, this is the one that I told you that I figured out. See how my shoulder lays? It starts right here, so it goes up, and it actually looks more like a raglan style because it comes towards the middle of the shoulder instead of going all the way out to the edge of the shoulder and then the sleeve starting out at the bottom. So it's not bad, but next time I will go ahead and make this shoulder piece a little bit wider like I showed you on the video, and then that way my sleeve will come out to the edge of my shoulder. But other than that, everything turned out really well, and I think it's a success. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Comment below and let me know if you're going to try this hack, or if you've already done this before, or what you thought about it. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!